Hello, I'm Jim from Come Play With Us, and in this video I am going to be playing Ironwood. This is a 1 to 2 player game from Mind Clash Games. In this game, there's two factions that are two fairly asymmetric factions, the Woodwalkers and the Ironbots, basically elves versus dwarves. And I'm going to be playing the Woodwalkers, and the AI will be the Ironbot. So for this game, there are kind of two different win conditions for each of the factions. So for the Woodwalker, I have to find these totems. And so how that works is I start the game with one card. I draw these visionary cards. You'll see that I've got a deck of them here. And they give me a location where I can find a totem. So in this case, it's Lithimar, which is here. And at the beginning of the game, you're going to draw one of the 4 inner mountain ranges to find your totem. And basically what I got to do is I got to discover the to discover the totem. This has to be uncontrolled, so I have to clear out the dwarves that are, or the Ironborn or whatever that are there. So once this is uncontrolled, then I can do a discover action and discover the totem in one of the 4 adjacent regions to there. And then I have to take that totem and bring it back to the deep woods. And then it goes on my board. If I do that 3 times, I win the game. Okay, so that's how the Woodwalkers win. For the Ironborn, I think that's what they're called. Keep going. It says Ironbot on this side. Oh, Ironclad, sorry. They're called the Ironclad. But for the Ironclad, they're trying to build forges. So they start with a forge in the middle, which doesn't actually count towards the 3 they have to build. For them, they have to get to these outer mountains. And then when they're uncontrolled, and then they have to build a foundation there. And then once the foundation is built, then they can convert it or build a forge. They have to spend 5 crystals to do that. And they need to do that 3 times to win the game. That's basically the gist of what each of the factions is trying to do. Now, both factions move in a different way. The Woodwalkers can only move in the forest. So they move into these forest regions, and that's how they move. And the Ironclad are there. The mountain people, they just live in the mountains. So they just move in the mountains. So they go from mountain to mountain. They can't go into the forests. The other special rule here is the Woodwalkers cannot be attacked or attack from the deep forest. So for the Woodwalkers to attack the Ironclad, they have to move into these inner forest one of these inner forest regions. They have to be adjacent to whatever mountain enclave that they are attacking. It's pretty simple that way. The rest of the rules I'll get into as I play. To start the game, the Ironbot is in this expansive stance. They're going to be checking their stance every round, but basically the way this works is the Woodwalkers always go first. And we have a phase. We have some phases here. So there's 3 phases. There's the prep phase where we're going to gain some crystals and draw up our cards to our hands. This is basically a card-driven game. Then we're going to move to the action phase. We're each going to get to play 3 action cards alternately, and then the last part is the round end phase where we'll put, if we have any ongoing effects cards in play, we'll move them. We're supposed to move them to the top of your board. I don't got the space to do that, so maybe I'll just put them over here or something like that. They don't actually come into effect too often. I haven't actually used one yet, so they're not a lot of those cards. Then we're going to recover. You always keep your base cards. So you have these cards with the star on them. These are your base cards. They never get discarded. They always come back to your hand. So you're going to pull those back. And then you're going to discard down to 8 cards in your hand, which includes your base cards and your vision cards for the Woodwalker. The Ironclad doesn't have vision cards. And then if there's a totem in play, it's going to fade. So basically, once you get a totem in play, you kind of have 2 rounds to get it into the deep forest before it disappears. It loses its power. And then we're going to recruit new units. and then we'll just go back, rinse and repeat. So that's the general flow of the game. Okay, so let's give this a go. I'm going to start. So for the Woodwalkers, we gain 1 crystal. At the start of the round, we draw 2 cards. And then if we have any ongoing effects, we remove the time markers on them and discard them if there's no more on there, but don't have any of those in play right now. The Ironclad gets 2 crystals and also draws 2 cards. When you draw cards for the bot, they go on the bottom of their hand deck. They're going to play cards off the top. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is I got to get to Lithmar here. So I want to get in here and not clear these guys out of here. So I need to move my units in. So my best move card is this one here. It's a basic card, so I'll always have this one. And what this lets me do is it says I get to resolve 1, or I can spend 2 crystals to resolve 2 of these things. And the 2 things I can do is I can move 5 of my units, or I can attack, and I can attack Ferrum, which is the center piece here. You know, I can't attack Ferrum this round because, well, I guess I could get there. No, I can't. I can't get into close enough to get to Ferrum with 1 move, so there's no point in me wasting crystals on that. Plus, I'm looking at this one here. I don't care about Ferrum right now. So I'm just going to do the move 5, and that'll be my first action. And you can't see it because it's off camera here, but you know, you're supposed to keep your action cards below the player board. There's a slot for 3 of them there, but so that's my first action. I'm going to move 5. Now, the way the Ferrum or the Woodwalkers work is you can move guys individually. So basically, I just have 5 moves. So I'll move these 2 guys in here and these 2 guys in here. And then I've got 1 more move that I can do. So maybe I'll move 1 guy in here. Okay, and that's my moves. And you can only move each unit once. So I couldn't move like this guy twice. Like you can only get 1 move for each of your units. Once you move them, they can't move anymore. Okay, so that's the end of my turn. And so now how the bot turn works is first you're going to check the stance here. And this, the way it says, the first line, it says, if I have a warband, which is a group of my warriors that is in the same location as a totem, then they're going to switch to aggressive stance. They're going to try to get that. They're going to come after me because they don't want me to take the totem out, because that's one of my win conditions. Otherwise, if they have 5 crystals, they only have 2 so far, and they control a foundation, which they haven't built yet, then they'll move into defensive stance. Otherwise, they'll stay in expansive stance. Okay, and then how the bot works after that, after checking your stance, you just have this card that has 2 sides. It has an alert side and an exhausted side. So it starts on the alert side, and we just go through the list here and do the first thing that we can. So the first thing it says is if we're in defensive stance, or if we have 2 forges and we're able to, we spend 5 crystals to flip the foundation into a forge. So basically try to build your forge. Of course, we're not even close to that yet. Otherwise, if we're in aggressive stance, we're going to do this. We're not. Otherwise, if able, we're going to place a foundation on an outer mountain the Ironclad controls with the largest warband. Don't control any outer regions yet. So we're not going to do that. Otherwise, we're just going to expend the top card of the bot's hand and resolve icons on the expended card. Okay, so here's the top card. And so how that works when you do that, there's these symbols on the card. So we're not paying attention to anything else on the card but these symbols. And these symbols only relate to the solo game. Now, in the beginner games, you're just going to execute these regular symbols here. You're not going to execute the red symbols. So I'm going to ignore the red for now, because we're just going to play a kind of beginner game of this. But if you're playing a more advanced game or a more difficult game, you would execute the red ones as well. And so that symbol, those symbols correlate to this this chart here. And so if I look that up, it says if I'm in aggressive stance, I'm going to do this top thing. If I'm in defensive stance, I'm going to do this thing. And if I'm in expansive stance, then I'm going to spend a crystal to recruit one. I do have a crystal, so spend a crystal to recruit one. So recruiting. So the priority for recruiting is going to be Ferrum, which is the center square, if there are less than 3 fighters in Ferrum. So that's the first thing. There are less than 3 fighters there, so it will just go there. Okay, so we're done the recruit, and then we're going to move to expand. Okay, so there's 3 types of movement that the Ironclad bot does. There's the chase, the protect, and the expand, and they both have extensive rules here. So first, you got to figure out the target of expanding. So we're looking for an uncontrolled and unmarked outer mountain with without a forge, and with the fewest total woodwalker fighters adjacent to it. And we're prioritizing a mountain with a foundation over one without a foundation. Don't have anything with a foundation. I only have units in these 2 squares, areas that can attack right now. So that will basically eliminate these 3 outer mountain ranges from the ones that we want to go for. So that just means these 3, and I think those 3 are all equally opportunistic. So whenever you have that, you roll this die, and this die will tell you which one to go for. So I'll roll this. So this is saying, how you read this is it's saying lowest even number area. And on the solar side of the board, there's 2 sides of the board. This is the solar side. It has these numbers on here that you use for this kind of decision. So we're looking for the lowest even number, right? So we've got 6, 9, and 11. This is the only even number, so this is going to be the target. Okay, so we got our target. Now, where are they going to come from? So we got source of movement, the mountain with the largest Ironclad warband adjacent to that target. And if it's Ferrum, we have to ignore the 3 Ironclad fighters there, because they'll always leave 3 there to defend their stronghold, basically. And then we use the magic die to determine any tie. So we want to go here. So actually the closest one, the only one adjacent that can move here right now is this group here. So this is the group that's going to move in, and they will leave 1 behind on the expand. So these 2 will move in here. And that's how that works. And that's the end of the Ironclad's turn. Go back to me. Okay, so now I got to get these guys out of here. So I want to fight those guys. So how fighting? So I need an attack card. So my best, the things you're looking for here is, well, I actually only have 1 attack card in my basic card. So this one, this is the only one I have. So this one lets me move 2 and then attack. This is the Swift Strike. So I'll play that. And if I win this fight, I gain a crystal. So I can move 2 guys in. So I'll move this one in here. That's the only other guy I can get in there. So I'll just move this guy here. Okay, and then I'm attacking this spot. So how do fights work? Okay, so the first thing we can do is we can risk a card. And so I only have these 3 cards that I can risk. So what I'm looking for is the kind of like battle strength, the defensive, and the dominance. Now the most important thing is dominance. Because a lot of times you don't eliminate, unless you can eliminate all the other side's units, you want to force them out, and that's based on dominance. And how dominance works is we're going to count up the remaining units of each of us. So that counts for 1. So right now it would be 5 to 3. The bot also gets bonuses depending on what stance they're in. In the expansive stance, they get a +1 kind of damage in combat. So I want to kind of look where something like this one's really good because it does 4 damage, so that could wipe them out. Also, it gives me 2 dominance. The other thing is this is not a game. This card won't come back to my hand, so I'll lose that card for the game, basically. So I want to kind of see if this is a card I want to keep. So this one's playable only when wagered in combat. So this is the only time to use it, really. And when wagered in combat, I remove 1 of my units from the warband involved in the combat. So that's going to bring my strength down by 1, but it's probably worth it. This is a pretty... so that's one I'm going to gamble with. I'll keep this... Is there enough room in this space here? Let's see, yeah, okay. So we're going to be lining up The cards are made so you can line up these things. The Iron Bot is just going to draw the top card, and then we'll just resolve the combat here. So we're just comparing the two things. So the damage that the Iron Bot is doing 1 plus the 1 it gets from the stance it's in, so it's doing 2 damage to me. I'm not defending at all. So, oh, I was supposed to spend 1 from here for this card. The bot is doing 2 damage, so I'm going to lose 2 guys from what the bot did because I don't have any defense on this thing. I'm doing 4 damage, and the bot is defending 1 of those, so I do 3 damage. I'm taking all 3 of these out. And then now we do a dominance check. Well, he doesn't have anything left there, so I win that fight. And that's basically how that combat works. It's really quick and simple. So you just discard those cards. And then because of the card that I played, because I won the battle, I get a crystal. Okay, so that's the end of my turn. Now it's the bot's turn, so we're going to check our stance again. There's no totem on the board, so they're not going to move the stance to the aggressive stance. They don't have 5 crystals, so they're not going to move the defensive stance. They're going to stay in expansive stance. So we'll go back through this card again, and you know the top 2 still aren't there. But do we control? Yeah, we do control this outer. They do control the this outer mountain here. So if we control, if able, we can place a foundation on an outer mountain it controls with the largest warband. It's there, so it's going to do that. And if it's successful, it's going to gain a crystal, expend the top card of the bot's hand, and then flip this card. So this is going to get flipped now. They're going to put a foundation on here, like that. And they're just basically going to burn a card and get a crystal. That's their turn. Okay, so now I've got this out of control. So now I want to bring in a totem. So to do that, I need to play my Visions card. This is another one of my basic cards. And this one lets me draw a card and resolve one of these things. So I can either draw another Visions card or discover. Now, there is a danger here because it is the end of the round. I'm not going to be able to move that totem out. So it's going to fade right away. But I am the first player. So I will get, as long as the bot doesn't get a ton of guys in here to attack me, I should be able to pull it off, pull it out before the bot gets a chance to go next turn. Okay, so I'm going to draw a card, and then I'm going to discover Lithmar. And then for the inner ones, because they're harder to grab, because the Ironclad have more units there, there's a little reminder here. Whenever you discover a totem in the inner kind of mountain range there, you get 3 crystals. So I'll get 3 crystals. And now I can put this totem in one of the adjacent regions here. So now I want to see how they can react. So they're going to come over after me really fast. So, I mean, these 2 guys are adjacent here. So they'll probably come in and try to attack me and take this away from me. They're the biggest ones. We've got these guys here. If I go here, there's nobody currently adjacent. So this is actually the safer spot. Now I might also want to draw these guys away from the foundation, because if I don't, then they could build a forge here. But they don't have 5 crystals yet. They need 5 crystals to do that. So I don't think I'm too worried about that. I'm more worried about getting my totem out. So I'm going to put it there. Because there's nobody. They need to get to. Oh, I guess they could get here. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that. Oh, that's actually. There's more guys there. So yeah, you know what? I'm better off going here. So these guys will pull over. Yeah, because that's these 3 spots that I gotta worry about. So yeah, I'll put it there. And that's the end of my turn. Back to the bot. Okay, so now they're going to change stance, because I got a warband here that is in the same region as a totem. So they're going to move to aggressive stance. An aggressive stance, they're going to get a bonus with 1 dominance in combat. Okay, but the benefit is they are in exhausted state here. So in the exhausted state, they just expend the top card of their deck, and then they do the icons, and then this gets flipped back. So it all depends on what the icons are here. So we don't do the red because we're just playing the beginner game. So it's going to do this symbol here, which is the thing here. Okay, so it says if alert, move to chase. We're exhausted. Then attack if able. Otherwise, we're going to draw a card and put it on the top of the hand. So I'm going to draw a card here, and it goes on the top instead of the bottom, which is the usual. And then we're going to discard the card we drew. Gets discarded. And then we're going to flip the turn procedure card to the alert side, and we're going to evaluate it again. So this is the worst one to get when you get into this position, because it takes it basically unexhausts the bot. So that kind of sucks that you drew that one. Okay, so we're going to evaluate again. So we're not defensive and we don't have 2 forges. We're in aggressive, so we're going to do this. We're going to expend the top of the bot's hand, and we're going to move to chase and then attack if able. And then we're going to flip this card again. So expend the card. Okay, then we're going to move to chase. Okay, this is a different movement rule than the expand. This is the second movement rule. So when we're doing chase, so the target is going to be one of these mountain ranges here, because this is where they want to get to. So we're looking for a mountain adjacent to the warband in focus, where the ironclad can use a single warband movement to form the largest parsable warband. And if it's tied, we select a mountain that is unmarked. If it's still tied, use the magic die. However, if the ironclad already has more units in the warband adjacent to the warband in focus, it does not move at all. Okay, so the biggest group that can get into range of these guys is these guys. Now, these guys could also get here, but they always will leave 3 in Ferrum. So you can basically count that as a 0. So it's going to be these 2 guys that are moved here. So these 2 guys are going to move in here, and they're going to attack. And the way the ironclad work is they always move as a warband. So unlike the woodwalkers, where I can move guys in here, move from here, you kind of move. My moves are all kind of separate moves. The ironclad move in warband, so they couldn't move those guys in, and then these guys in. They can only move groups from one place to another. So that's their movement's a little different than the woodwalkers. Okay, so they're gonna attack me. Oh, and also in the chase movement, they also don't leave a guy behind in the other spaces. So that's a little different than the expansion movement, where they leave 1 guy behind. But they do still leave the 3 behind, and they'll always leave 3 to protect Ferrum. But this is a little different, where they won't leave the 1 behind here like they did when they did the expansionist movement. Okay, so they're gonna fight. So I've got 2 cards left here. So at this point, I just want to hold on to my spot. So I'm gonna look for the highest dominance, really, because they're gonna get the extra dominance here. So really, I gotta play this card. Unfortunately, this is a good card. This is one of my persistent cards. So you know, it is a pretty good card, but yeah, I gotta use this one because I've got no other choice. This card's not gonna do it, I don't think. Okay, and so we'll draw. So match these guys up. Okay, so oh shoot, he's doing 3. I don't have any defense, so this did not go well. He got a full out attack here. So he's doing 3 damage. I'm doing 2. Neither of us defended. But we wiped each other out basically. So because neither of us have units left in this, nobody wins this fight. So this is basically a draw. Okay, we both discard our combat cards. And that's the end of the Ironclad's turn, so we're at the end of the round. Okay, so we're going to... So if I had any persistence cards, I would move them above my boards and they would stay in play. I don't. So you pull back all your basic cards. I used all my basic cards, so I'm just pulling those back. So I have nothing to discard. And then we're going to fade this. So I only have one more round. Now I'm in trouble because I have no units here. I guess I have this guy, but it's going to take me... Well, I got a whole round, I guess, to move this guy out. But remember, I can only move guys once per turn. Yeah, so that's going to be a little bit more difficult to get that out before it fades away. And then I can recruit guys for a cost of 2 crystals for each one. So I've got 5 crystals here, so I'm going to spend 4 and recruit 2 guys. So I'm going to put 2 guys here. Now I can... What you can do is you can relay things. So because it only takes one guy to move here, I could relay... Well, there's no relaying it, I guess, because it's on the outer thing. I only need one guy to move it. But say it was on an inner thing and I needed to move it twice. So say we had this situation. What I could do is move this guy here to move it there and then kind of relay it back out. So that is something you can do. But yeah, it's on the outer edge, so I don't have to worry about that. Okay, so that's my end around. The Iron Bot's end around. So same thing, we're going to pull any of the basic cards back into the deck. So 2 of them were discarded. So the 2 of them were used for combat and discarded. So I'll put those back in and shuffle those up and put them back on top. I guess I go to... And then we're going to discard the ones we used. Get discarded. And then the way the Iron Bot works is it says for... it only will add new units if it has 5 or more crystals. So it only has 2 crystals, so it's not going to buy new units. And that's the end of the first round. Okay, second round. So gain a crystal. Gonna draw 2 cards. And the bot's gonna get 2 crystals. And draw 2 cards. Okay, and I go first again. Okay, so I gotta get this totem out of here. So I gotta move. I'm gonna need 2 moves. I'm gonna need to do 2 turns of moving here. Okay, so let's see what I got here. I got this card that lets me choose a warband and remove one from it, and one from up to 3 adjacent Ironclad warbands. So it's not gonna help me. So here's my big move card again that I used last turn. I could use that one because I can move 5 guys around, so that's pretty good. That's probably the one I'm going to use. This one lets me move 2 and attack. Probably save that one. This is the one I used to find the totem, so that's not going to work. This one lets me burn a card. So burn a card means basically I just put it straight to my discard and I don't play it. To move the same 4 guys twice, but I can't move a totem during this card's resolution. So that's not gonna... That would be really nice if I could, because then I could do that and get that done in 1 turn. But because I can't move the totem, no good. And this one just lets me gain a crystal and draw 2, and then burn, draw 2 visions and burn 1. So this actually I'll probably use this one right away to get new vision cards after I get that totem out. So I guess I'll use my big move card. So I'm not going to spend the 2 crystals to attack Ferrum. I don't really need to do that, so I'm just going to use it to move 5. So I will move these 2 guys in here, this guy in here. So that's 3 moves, and I've got 2 more moves left. So I'm probably going to move 2 guys in here because I also want... I mean, it was good I drew those guys away from the foundation because they're going to want to build Forge here, even though they've only got 4 crystals, but they could get a crystal during this round and try to build the forge here. So I'll move these guys in here to kind of block them from getting that forge. Yeah, so that's it for my turn. Now the Ironclad's going to go. Again, it's going to stay in an aggressive stance because I have units in there with the totem. But it is on the exhausted side again, so it's going to flip a card and resolve it. Hopefully I don't get that same bad luck I did last time. So this time I've got the tower symbol. So the tower says if I'm in aggressive stance, which I am, I'm going to spend a crystal to recruit and then attack if I'm able. So the recruit, because there's less than 3 guys here, it's going to recruit here. That's the rule on the recruit. And they can't attack. So there was no move in this. It was just recruit and then, or yeah, recruit a guy and then attack if able. But they don't have anybody adjacent, so because there's no move involved with that. They can't do the attack part. Well, they can't attack these guys, so they could attack. They could attack these guys here because they have this guy here, but they will not attack if they have less guys in their warband than I do. It has to be at least a 0, like at least even, for them to try and attack. Okay, so that's it for their turn. So I got lucky there, so now I can move the totem out. So the only other card, the only other card I have is this one. I could do the attack too, so I can move 2 guys and then I can attack, and if I win a fight, I gain a crystal. So I'm going to, you only have to use 1, so I'm going to use 1 to move the totem out here. And so that gets me one of my totems. So 2 more to go, and then I've got 1 more move. And I think I will move a guy in here because I'm going to attack that spot here. Okay, for that attack, so because they're in aggressive stance, they've got the dominance. So I probably want a higher dominance card. So I got this discover card. Oh no, this is, because this one lets me draw a vision. I probably want to keep that one. Although this one lets me, this one's actually better because it gives me a crystal, and then I get to draw 2 vision cards and burn one. So I get to pick one. Of course, I'm burning one of my possible ones, but there's a lot of mountain spaces on the board. So when it says if this card is burned, I could spend, if I burn it for another thing. So yeah, dominance. This is the best. Well, he's only got 1 guy there, so I should probably do an attack one because they usually don't defend more than 1. Unfortunately, I've got this basic one. I should probably just use this basic one because I'm going to use that other card to do the discover action. So I'll use this one as my fight card. And let's see what the... Okay, so we're each doing 1 damage. Neither of us is defending. We basically got the same card here. We're both getting 2 dominance, but he's not going to survive this one. So we each lose 1 guy. And... I win that fight. He's got no more guys left in that fight. And so I will get a crystal because I played the card that lets me get a crystal when I win. So that one discarded. Okay, so that's the end of my turn. Now the bot's turn. So the bot is going to check its stance. So there's no totem on the board. So this one, it's not going to stay in aggressive stance. It doesn't have 5 crystals, so it's going to go back into expansive stance. Okay, and we're not defensive or have 2 forges. We're not aggressive right now, so we're going to do this one. So if we're able, we're going to place the foundation on an outer mountain they control. They don't control any outer mountains right now, so not going to do that. So it's just going to do the bottom one here. It's going to expend the top card of the hand, and then we're going to resolve the icons. So the icons we got here is this tower one again. So we're in expansive, so we're going to spend a crystal to recruit, and then we're going to move to expand. The Ironclad can only recruit guys at a forge. The only forge they have on the board right now is at Ferrum, so that's the only place they can recruit. Okay, so we're recruited, and now we're going to move to expand. So again, we're going to be looking for. I think they're going to move towards that if they can. So target, we're looking for an uncontrolled and unmarked. Oh, sorry. There's another rule I forgot. Whenever I find a totem, we're going to mark that mountain, because that means I can no longer find a totem there. So that helps the bot not worry about those as much. So we're looking for an uncontrolled and unmarked. So that one's marked. Outer mountain without a forge and with the fewest total woodwalker fighters adjacent, prioritizing a mountain with a foundation over one without a foundation. So it's going to be going here because that's the only foundation we have. That's where it wants to go. And the source is going to be the mountain with the largest ironclad and warband adjacent to the target. Now, none of them, there is no warband adjacent to the target. So I guess because they can't get anybody here, they're not going to go there. So now they're going to prioritize one of these other ones. So they're going to prioritize one with the smallest warband again. So I've got warbands here and here, so that's going to eliminate these two outer and these two outer. So it's looking to go to those two. So now, so we'll just roll a die to decide which one of those it wants to move to. So that's the lowest even. So it wants to go here. The only group that can go there is this group here. So it's going to move these two in. Okay, so that's it for the Ironclad's turn. Back to me. So now I've got to find another totem. So I'm going to use my Revelations card. So that lets me gain 1 crystal, draw 2 vision cards, and then I got to burn 1. Gain a crystal. So gain 2 vision cards. Okay, so we got Aurora. So this one will get me. Oh, and it's uncontrolled right now. So that is perfect. Plus, it also gives me 3 crystals if I can do that one. My other option is Kuramus, which is the top one. Yeah, that one. Not the best one there. It's controlled currently. Although I might want to, because that could give me the advantage of I guess I could go here quickly because it's uncontrolled. I can get the totem out quickly, or I could kill 2 birds with 1 stone and prevent them from putting a foundation up there. But this game is kind of a race, so I think I'm gonna go for Aurea. I'll burn this one. Okay, so that's it for my turn. The bot is going to. It doesn't have 5 crystals, or so it's going to go. It's doing the expansive thing again. And now, of course, it can place a foundation. So it's going to place a foundation, and then it's going to gain a crystal, expend a card, and flip this card. So there was no way for me to stop that because I couldn't. Well, I guess I don't think I had a fight card that I could move in. That there. Get a crystal, and they're just going to expend a card. Okay, so that's the end of the round. So I recover my basic cards, discard that card. I don't have a totem on the board to fade, and then I'm going to recruit. So I'm going to recruit 2 guys. My recruited guys always just go to the outer forest. So I'm going to recruit 2 guys here, so I can move them in here. Okay, that's it for me. Ironclad, they get their cards back. And then discard this card. And they're not going to recruit because they don't have 5 or more crystals. So that's it. Back to the beginning of the round. Okay, preparation phase. I'm going to draw a crystal and 2 cards. Bot's going to draw 2 crystals. They got 5 crystals now, so now they're gonna start building forges. Maybe I should have gone after that. But, you know, if I can the thing is you just wanna stay ahead, so it's kind of okay for them to build a forge. You know, I just wanna stay ahead of them. Okay, me first. Okay, so, I got to okay, so first I have to move in here, and then I can do the discover, and then I can pull out. So, I'm just gonna use my big move card again. Where are you? Okay, so this is just my ransack one where I move 5 guys. Move. Let's move in here. Okay, 5 guys. And that's it. That's it for my turn. Okay, so in the stance, we have 5 crystals and we control the foundation up there. So they're going to go into defensive stance. And they're exhausted, so they're going to spend the top card of their hand and resolve the icons. So the icons, we've got 2 icons this time. So first we're going to be doing this one up here. Oh, this is that alert one again. I really hate this one. Oh, this one's going to be really bad. So we're not, it says if alert, we're not in alert, so not going to chase. Otherwise, they're going to draw a card and put it on the top of the deck, and then we're going to discard the card we're on and flip the turn procedure card and evaluate it again. Well, it's actually not, I don't know if that's so bad this time, because I was going to get a double thing on that, so. Okay, so we're in defensive. So we're going to spend the 5 crystals to flip the controlled forge foundation to a forge, and then we're going to expend the top of the bot's hand and flip this card. That kind of sucks because there was a chance there, because they were exhausted, that they weren't going to get their forge this turn, but I mean they were going to do it this round for sure. Okay, so now I got to play my discover card. I have to grab it back. Okay, so draw a card, and then I get to do the discover. I can either get a new visions card or discover. Draw a card. So I'm discovering Aurea. So I'll remember to put the cube down this time. So I've got to mark this that I've discovered there. I'm going to put the totem here. And that's it. That is my turn. So it's Ironclad's turn. So their stance is going to change because I've got a totem with a warband. So they're going into aggressive stance. But they're exhausted again. So we're going to do the symbols. So this time, oh shoot, I keep drawing that. They must have a lot of those symbols in there. So we're going to do, they're going to go back to alert again. So this card's going to get discarded. This card's going to go to the top of the deck. And this is going to get flipped, and then we're going to go do this. So we're in aggressive stance this time. So they expend the top card of the bot's hand, and we're going to move to chase. And then they're going to attack. Okay, so the good news is there is nobody around me. So the only thing in range is Ferrum here. So they could move 1 in here, but they're not going to attack. That is the best they can do. That's it for the Ironclad's turn. My turn now. I'm just going to do my regular move and attack, so I can move 2 and attack. So I will move 1 out with the totem. And, you know, I might as well take this guy out. Whittle him down. Oh, I've got 1 more move, though. Okay, I'll move this guy in. I gotta keep him away from this foundation, so I should keep my guys built up there. Okay, so probably don't want to burn too much on this. I've used all my basic cards, so I basically have to spend a card here. He's only got one guy there, so probably want to go with like one of these cards here. Just kind of guarantee. So I think I'm going to use this one because they'll give me 2 attack and a shield. So usually they'll only defend 1. Oh, of course, this time they defend 2. Okay, so that's not great. Okay, so neither of us are removing a guy. So it's just coming down to dominance. So he's got 2 plus his 1 guy there, so that's 3. But I've got 4 plus my thing there, 5. Oh, and he gets the extra dominance from this stance, but that's not going to help him. So I'm winning that fight. So I discard my card. Okay, so now I can force him to retreat. I'm going to force him back to Ferrum. And because I played my my one card where I get a big crystal if I win, get a crystal. Okay, so that's it for my turn. So now it's the Ironclad's turn. So they're going to move out of aggressive stance back to expansive. And they're just going to evaluate their card. So they can't place a foundation. They don't have any other things controlled. So they're just going to expand the top bot's hand and do whatever the symbol is there. So they're going to do the tower. And that means they're going to spend a crystal to recruit a guy, and then they're going to move to expand. Now they've got 2 options for recruiting a guy now. And so what they will do is they will build in Ferrum, again, if they have less than 3. Otherwise, the place where they have the smallest warband, which is this one up here. So they'll build a guy there, and then they're going to move to expand. So they will try to get here if they can, but they can't get there because they have nobody adjacent to that. So the only places, so they're going to be looking for the places with my fewest warbands. So kind of this one's out and this one's out. So it'll be one of, they've already got a forge there, so they're not going to go there. So they're going to pick one of these 2. So 9 or 11, so we can just roll a die. So the highest odd, so they'll go to 11 is their target. And they could move either of these groups in. So we're just going to have to roll a die again. Because they could move from either of those. So we got lowest odd. So actually we've got 4 and 10, but 4 is lower. So I'll go those guys in there. That's the end of the round. So I'm going to pull my basic cards back to my hand. I got to discard down to 8. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nope, I'm under 8. No totems on the board to fade, and so I can recruit. I've got $2, so I'm going to recruit 1 guy. I have no idea where to put him at this point. So maybe I'll go down here because I know that he wants to. Well, I mean, he's going to try to build a foundation up there, but it's really the forges where we got to keep him from building. So we'll let him build his foundation. Okay, and then the Ironclad. We'll pull its cards back. And then he's got no crystals, so he's not going to do any recruiting. That's the end of the round. Beginning of the next round, get a crystal, draw 2 cards. Bot gets 2 crystals and 2 cards. Okay, so I'm back to having to find a totem. So let's see what 2 new cards I get here. So I got these 2. This is move to an attack. That's not going to help me. Or I can burn 2 cards to discover, even if the mountain is controlled. This is huge to get at this point of the game. So usually you have to be the mountain has to be uncontrolled. This will let me discover even if the mountain is controlled. But first I have to find it, scout out a totem. So only card I have to do that is my standard one. So I'll play my visions card, draw 1 card, and then draw a vision card. And so I'm not going to get much choice here. I got to go to Gallimore, which is, where I have guys. Well, so that's well situated. I'm in a good position now. Yeah, and I have that discover card, that extra discover card, so I'll probably use that next turn and discover it here and then move it out. Yeah, so I could win the game in this round if the bot doesn't counter me, although the bot's going to be trying to get to this space here. Because it's still, so the bot's going to stay in expansion mode. And can't place foundation yet, so it's going to do the symbols. So we got this. So this is an immense skull one here. So if Ferrum has 5 or more combat units, it doesn't. Move to expand. Otherwise, we're going to recruit 1. So recruit here because it still has lower than Ferrum. Okay, and the second symbol we have is this one. So that is here. So I can move. Okay, so now we're moving the drill here. This hasn't really come into play, and it doesn't really seem to come into play. Probably because I'm just playing the beginner game without the red symbol, so maybe it moves more with the red symbols. But basically, the Ironclad has this big drill thing that they can move around and drill for crystals. So I guess that helps them get their forges. So we're going to be moving that finally. So we're going to move the drill. Okay, so what the drill wants to do is it wants to collect crystals and bring them to the forges. It hasn't collected anything yet. So if it has 3 or more crystals in its cargo hold, it's going to head towards a forge. It hasn't even moved out yet, so it's not going to do that. Otherwise, it moves to a mountain without a forge. And it's going to move towards one with that has more, that has a bigger warband. Okay, so it can go to this one or this one. They're equal. So we'll roll the die again, and we're going to the lowest odd. So it's going to move here. And when you move the drill to a non-forge space, you move up this track and take the reward. So the first reward here is 2 crystals. Now, he doesn't get the 2 crystals. Those 2 crystals go into the cargo hold of the drill. It has to drop those off at a forge before they go into his actual supply. Okay, so that was the drill part. So we moved the drill, and then we're going to move up to 2 of an adjacent warband to the drill if able. So we can move 2 guys here to the drill. Okay, so they're just going to move to protect their drill. That's it for that turn. Okay, so back to me. So now I'm going to play that card because I don't need the special discover because it's uncontrolled, but I used my card that has discover on it to draw the vision card. So I'm not going to be able to do that. So I have to use the shaman's guidance. So I have to burn 2 cards to discover. So play that. And I'm going to burn 2 cards. So I'm going to look for cards that, all right. I got a lot of cards, fortunately. So kind of want to don't want to burn things that let me move or give me really good defense. Although I have really good cards in my hand right now. So kind of, this is going to be a tough choice here. Because I've got all these, kind of looking at like how to protect. Probably this one is the one. It's my weakest combat card, but it lets me move 5. But I don't need to move 5. I only need to move 1. I've got plenty of move cards, so I'm going to burn that one. As long as I keep another card with move on it. So I've got 2 cards here with move on them. Yeah, let's go. Maybe I will got another one with 4 dominance, so maybe I'll burn that one. Okay, and then discovering the one at Gallimore. So put the cube out here. And this guy I'm going to drop in here. Okay, it's the end of my turn. Okay, bot's going to move to aggressive stance. And there's an aggressive stance, so he'll expend the top of the bot's hand and it's going to move to chase and then attack. So this is our target. Again, he's not in a good position here because the biggest warband he can get to, I mean, he's got one of these 3 places. The only place he can get anybody to is here, and the best he's going to do is 1. Because they will not move more than, they will always protect. That's kind of a weird thing about here. Like, he's about to lose the game. You know, a human player would move all those guys in, but the bot always leaves 3 in Ferrum. The other areas they like in the chase they will leave them back, but they'll always leave 3 to protect Ferrum, which is kind of silly. So he's not going to attack because he won't attack a bigger warband. Hey, back to me, and this is game. So I'm just going to play a move card. I only need to move 1 guy out. So I'll move 1 guy out with the thing, and that's my last totem. So that's a win. Yeah, so that's how this game plays. That's, like I said, that's on beginner mode. So hard, you know, if we added the red in, it would make it harder. Yeah, it is very strange that, you know, there should be some, I would say there should be an addendum that, like, if you're about to lose the game, who cares about protecting Ferrum, move all your guys in and attack. You know, because that might have been more interesting a fight there, because, you know, like, what would I have done? I probably want to, it would have been 4 versus 4, and they get the extra dominance. So I probably would have played my 4 dominance card here. So let's see how that would have worked out. Okay, so I don't do any damage. They wouldn't have done any damage. I would have had 4 dominance. So I would have won that anyways, because they would have had 5 dominance to my 8 dominance. But yeah, it's kind of weird that they don't even try to do that. Yeah, so the only other thing, so we saw, I think, everything from both factions there. The one thing you didn't see is the Ironclad have these golems. These are kind of a bigger unit that they can build, so you didn't see any of those. And what those do is they add an extra combat damage when you're fighting them. And I think they do one other thing that I can't remember, but oh, and they take two damage to kill. So yeah, they're a little bit of a better unit. But yeah, that's how this game works. It's a really neat little 2-player, you know, 1 to 2 player kind of I don't know, say it's a skirmish game, but yeah, it's kind of an asymmetric. This reminds me of Root. This kind of feels like this is 2-player Root almost, with how this, I mean, it's a little different, but it's kind of like the same idea where we're doing different things. But it's more geared towards 2 players. So I'm going to be kind of interested in seeing what they do more with this system, assuming they're going to keep going with this system and, you know, bring in more factions that you can play with. But we'll see how it goes. It is a really neat little game. As usual, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.